So, good morning, guys. Okay, so I put out a short video if you had a chance to watch it. Let's go through the key areas and kind of look at where we're at on the profile to get started for the day. So it's going to be a very short preview. So I'm trading the stars. The objective is to get to somewhere between $500 and $900 on P&L in the Apex accounts, obviously more than that in my own personal account. And we are gapping down, so let's look at where we are. So if we look at this is going back to Friday's. Oh, I see what I'm missing here. Hold on one sec. I got to make one more adjustment. Sorry about that. So this is right click. You need to adjust this. Chart time properties, color, orange. That's Thursday's low. Okay. Friday's high and Thursday's high are essentially the same. So all you have to do here is adjust for the low, which is like that. So we are gapping below Friday's low, right? So I'm throwing out Monday's data, right? I just don't trust those half days or days where the market didn't actually really quote unquote trade. So the areas that I'm interested in for a pushback up is the 16,975. If we trap above 16,914, the goal would be 16,975, right? Plus whatever the initial balance that gets added in, right? So we'll look at where the 5 minutes get set. Where once the 5 minutes set below, I would expect to push back to, this is a 50-60 from Thursday's low to Thursday's high. So I'd expect to push back into this location. And this 16,870 to 16,856, that's where the 24-hour 5-day moving average is for the market. If we lose that, then the natural test, right? So you can just see it's going to be it's going to look like this. There's single prints down here. So here we can make this like whatever white. And the most ideal will be for it to get underneath 16,754, trap back in, and then push back to the 50-60, followed by wherever the 5 minute balance is, right? I'm looking for the stars. Okay, so the way that translates is I'm looking for exactly this, right? If I get the stars to the downside, enter, push. 2 bars is generally 10 points, 3 is 15 after the entry, and that is exactly what I'm looking for, along with the tweezers bottoms with a dot to the upside, and then apex traps, super traps with dot into dot for the upside moves. So I want to pause and see if anyone in the room has any questions over that. Oh, sorry. Hey guys, mic check. Any better? Apologies. Sorry about that. It went into mute mode automatically. So let me go through this one more time, right? So adjust your day's low. We're gapping below the low at 16,914. I'm not using Monday's data because the market technically wasn't open, right? I'm looking for the star setup, right? So on the march to the million idea, 10 points, 15 points on 2 contract trades. So if it has a star on it, right, and a dot, it's a 2 contract trade. If it's a star by itself, it's a 1 contract trade. If it's a trap back into the star, whether there's a dot on it or not, it's a 2 contract trade. Okay, with 2 contracts, it's either 10 and then trail, or 10 and 15 and done, right? But either way, the focus is, so remember, focus, the definition of focus is giving up something you want in exchange for what you're doing, right? It's not giving up something, it's not like, let me just focus on the process. It's like, let me give you an example. See this right here? This is a short, right? Now I know it can come back over here and test, right? But this is 10, this is 15, right? And I either have to move my stop here or do some idea of moving the stop down, or I take the 10 and the 15, so that equals $500, right? My goal is 600 to 900, and I ignore the rest of this push, right? Not because it can't be done or shouldn't be done or can't be done, right? It's because that's my focus, is to get that $1 million. And to get the $1 million, right, the way we're doing it is 20 Apex accounts, $300 a day average, 4 days a week, 10 months out of the year. Right now, let me tell you all something, right? The majority of the people in the room are trying to get $1 million. The majority of the people in this room are not millionaires, right? Once you have the $1 million, you can change up your strategy all you want. But get the money, put it in your pocket, and then move along, right? Then go to the more complex strategies. But I would really, and I'm not taking that star because I'm not ready to take it. I would really encourage you, and I got to do something here real quick. I would really encourage you, if you want to increase the size of your POCs, guys, by the way, go to ID 6, right? Go to settings, go to alerts, go to subgraph. Over here where it says size, just increase it. No, that wasn't correct. Cancel. Go to ID 5, excuse me. ID 5, settings. Put it at 3, should be much easier to see. There you go. Okay. And so that's what I'm looking for. Obviously a close back in, that 16,921 would be a trap back into that star. They're obviously trying to trap in on the prior day's low. I didn't see anything extremely bearish that would make me go, oh, I'm bearish. And this is the first, we're not even at the 5 minutes yet, right? So let's let the 5 minutes set up. And I bet I have my initial balance not here. So let me do something. Okay, and we'll see settings inputs. There we go. And I'll change the colors on these really quick here. 6. We'll change it to blue on top. We're not using that color, and we'll use it to pink on bottom. There you go. Okay, now we have IB high and IB low established, right? And I'm looking for the stars. Econ wise, and I will be pointing out the trades as I take them, right? Thanks, guys. Sorry about the audio thing. Let's try this. Okay, let me fix this. F6. I was probably testing and just didn't reset. Data limiting, 3 days. Okay. Reload, recalculate. How's that? Any better? Right click, reload, recalculate. They're on 3 days. We have Waller at 10 a.m. No econ besides that. Goldman Sachs earning call right now. So whatever that's worth. Backside test of yesterday's low. No stars so far. And I need to find my trading dome. There it is. Oh, that's valid star. I didn't get. Oh no, it's not. It's not off the fourth channel. It's just star off the top of yesterday's low, which is probably just as good in this particular case. That would be like an exception to the rule for the lift. You'd expect a retest of IB high. And we have the indices. Down 41 on NQ and 16 on ES. Coleman's the only thing to drive this thing. Just really wishy-washy with the order flow. That's okay. Trying to establish above the IB high. Again, I'm not sure there's actually any negative news, quote unquote, to drive this. You're going to have multiple dots if that traps back into that apex trap off to the left. Again, no star into star, which is what I'm focused on. Again, that was the trap from left to right. The dots in. Target will be back to that 16,914. IB low. Guys, I apologize. I have to run over to the house for 1 sec. I'll be right back. Again, still in the first 15 minutes of the day, which is the most highly volatile. I'm looking for the star trade. Right? Looking for the star trade. I'll be right back. Star into star. I missed it. You're looking for a retest of that 5-minute level. And we're below the 5-minute balance. So that's definitely purely a scalp. And that star would be a stop. That would be one of the few examples of a stop. And that's into the 50-60. Again, that first half hour is the hardest half hour. We're attempting a trap on that. That's going to be a super trap. I'll be long 72s if it hits. Looking for 82 for my scale. No. Yes. Scaled. And I will attempt to push back towards that 96. Of course, you manage it the way you want. That's super trap, barn to bar. Good job, Randy. If you're going to trade in the first half hour, that's the most aggressive time. After 9 and into 10:30 is the ideal time. And really, 9 to 9:45 is the sweet spot. It's going to be dot up, dot down, not at the fourth channel. That's going to be right. This is not a prior day's low. This is the prior day's low. I don't know why I have that green line there. I'm going to get rid of it. There we go. Now it's dot up, dot down. I would be out of my trade if I got that dot up, dot down, and you're still trailing. I'd be out. We are in the 50-60. So here's some contradicting ideas, right? I'm looking for the setup that'll take me out, but I really want to see a great setup coming off this level, right? To take me out of this and retest prior day's low. But I'm not very stretched from that level yet, and I'm below the 5 minutes. So something that someone could say is like, well, Simon, what's the read here, right? Is it back? So the read is if you get the long, you're going to test the 16,905 is your upside target. The second target is the prior day's low at 15. The next is 16,940, right? But if you're on the most basic program, which is let me get paid program, which is a good program, you're at 10 and 15 or 10 all out, right? And in some cases 20, right? But All you need is 2 or 3 trades to get you that $600 to $1,000 each day. And if you fall short, let's say one day's 200 or 300, it's no big deal. There's a trap. It's not a super trap. It's just a trap back into a dot on the left. Right, again, we are at the 50-60 retrace. You would expect a response back up from this level. I'd like a star to kick me off to that, and I don't have it yet. Or I don't have it here, at least. Right? So we're at an area where we expect a response. This is what it did overnight, just so you have the idea. Okay, so overnight we came in. This is the 50-60, right? See how it failed, and then it used that 50-60 as resistance. Second time through, back up, then it became support again, right? And the reason they sold here is because the people over here bought thinking, hey, we're going to come back up, right? So we have two competing ideas. This is Globex low, which we have not tested. All right, we'll leave that one in there. We'll change it to a color blue. That's Globex low. We have not hit it. That's Globex low. This is Globex highs is all the way back over here somewhere, right? We actually exceeded it on the open. I guess this would be considered overnight Globex high right here. No, let's see. Looks like we hit it just before the open. I would go with that, right? So that one's not important. And then, so we have two competing ideas, right? Some traders are going to look and go, oh, well, we need to retest Globex low in order to have a trade. Some people are going to go, this is the 50-60 from Thursday's low. We should find responsive buyers in here, right? So what I call that is a muddled look. I don't have some kind of crystal ball where I can look at it and go, oh, they're going to use this time, but they're not going to use it over here, right? So when these aren't in alignment, what you do is you split up the various parties that are trading. And what I mean by that is, had this been Globex low and this has been a retest, you would have everyone looking at these different various ideas, right? Oh, I buy test the Globex low. Oh, I buy 50-60 retraces. Oh, I buy the 62 retrace. They would all be at the same place, right? We don't have that, right? That means you don't have a concentration of effort from all interested parties, is the way I would describe it, right? Because everyone's looking at different points and ways to trade that, right? So what's my solution to that? I would have liked to start there on that bounce off that 16,860, right? I would like a bounce off of that, or I would have liked a orange dot and an orange dot over here for the lift. I did not get that, right? So I'm all right giving this up, and in addition, it's 8:54, and that 8:50 to 9 o'clock has my highest stop rate going, right? So all I do is I go, okay, I didn't have a clear look at that one, right? I didn't get a clear look at that particular trade, and I'll just move on to the next trade, right? Is the best way for me to do that, right? So what I would have liked is for it to look something like this, into this, and I would have liked to star down, right? This star down came in the middle of the channel within the context of what was attempting to be a trend day down. I like my stars to come at the top of the channel, right? Doesn't have to be. If you're more aggressive, you can take this if you're willing to smoke the 1 point. And then within the context of being underneath the initial balance, this star failed, the trap back in lifted, and then the trap back into that bar without an orange dot, so I would grade that as B grade entry, worked, right? It's not a question of whether one trade worked or another. It's a question of which one are you going to execute. Had this been a star, I'd have taken this, right? It wasn't, I didn't, and I'm still on hold to see what they end up deciding to do. And remember, this is also the 5-day moving average right here, so it would be pretty normal to get a bounce out of this area, right? Because this is exactly where the 5-day moving average is on the 24-hour chart. And we just go from there and let it build. Coming back up to retest initial balance low. And we have 5 minutes to get out of this period, just FYI. And there's a star. If you want to be aggressive coming into this period, that's where you're looking to be aggressive. Okay? You have to be willing to take the stop. And this is a hard time of day to take a stop. By the way, don't be fooled. Resting up against the star. And we have 3 minutes still till the top of the hour. This, for those on YouTube, this time frame has our highest number of stops at 8:15 and 9 o'clock. It just gets choppy. It's not that the trade can't work, it just gets choppy in there. So also, you got to remember, most people aren't going to be looking at this initial balance. They're going to be looking at that 6,914. Just keep that in mind. Watch for the trap back into the star, which will be 96.75. If, again, you're willing to take it right in front of the top of the hour. It's completely up to you. I'm going to just wait till after the hour so I don't have these issues. We're mixed bag, down 65 and 25. And that is star and a star, and usually it's very strong. Again, it's the time of day that's the issue here. Told you, all they did was just run it right into that, and right into that number is all that was. And that's why in that 8:50 to 9 o'clock, just stay chill most of the time. trade back up. At that, I'm watching for that star to show up on that 1675. That puts us in supernova off the 5060 retrace, just FYI. It's not exactly like a kiss of death. That's orange dots with a white dot trapped back in for the team members, guys. You're going to get past that 14 to retest that 04 low. Here we come to test IB low. Again, that was a valid entry for team members. Backside test the 14. That was your target off this, by the way, was that IB low. Now we'll see. So, hey, Matt, you should take a picture of this in this area. You want to avoid that. I know you didn't take the trade there, but you want to avoid that, those setups inside that 8:50 to 9 o'clock. And just let them work their way through. That's going to be dot into dot, not off the fourth channel, so B grade. If that prints, looking for a retest of the high. Again, this is just backside testing. Our bias is to the downside until we establish above 16,940. Above 16,940, 16,976 on a pullback. And then I am looking for a potential trap to the long side, backside test this area from here. All right, so this is B grade. Why is it B grade? Didn't touch the fourth channel. Other than that, it was very good. But you got to draw your lines. And I still don't have the trade I'm looking for, which is star. Who are we trapping? And don't forget, don't worry if it doesn't give you the setup. We need 4 days a week, 300 a day, right? Average out. You don't need every day. Don't worry if it doesn't give you the setup. That's going to be a head and shoulders tweezers. Top right there, just so you know, left, right, dots down for those looking for the retest into the lows. If that prints at 906.75. Stop on that is about 23. Okay, did everyone see that? Left shoulder, right shoulder, head and shoulders tweezers top with the dots down to push to the downside. Make sense? Hey, Randy, you just mic check. Sean, mic check. Any audio on my end? Am I good? You good? Okay. This is the 50-60 back, by the way, off the low. Undoubtedly someone will be looking. The best is when it hits that 62 retrace. That's just the intraday low. It's not the low low, which is 16.812. That's a 24-hour low. Dots into dots off the fourth channel. So if you look strategically, guys, a lot of times I'll talk to you about this, right? This is a great setup, right? The challenge is you're going to have to get them to trap it back into that 16.914. You're going to have conviction that they're going to trap that 914 and push to 940 on this, or you don't have enough room to get your scale, right? So I wanted you to envision something. See this area here, right? We know there's sellers in here, like just hypothetically at least there's sellers there, right? So you take this setup, relocate it down here, and now you have all this room back here. And you don't have to figure out whether they're going to bust those major levels because most retail traders aren't looking at it as tightly as we are. When you're over here, right, maybe not. Why? Because we're still going to be fighting people who are just using basic higher time frame, 5-minute balance zones, support resistance areas, prior days low, and you're going to go into battle with those guys, right? So we want this setup, envision this setup having occurred right over here. Bingo, ding, 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 for a move to the upside, right? So we're not always going to get it to set up the way we want it to. Doesn't matter, right? What you just got to visualize is when it does set up and you have those stretches available to you, that's where you want to take advantage of those bigger stretches. Other than that, this is just scalp city, right? As far as I'm concerned, because I can't tell you with any confidence, oh yeah, we're going to zip right through here, get above IB high and go to 16.976. No. Now my read would be different if it looked like this. We established above the 5-minute, came back in, pushed all the way down, and I go, hey, there's orange dot into orange dot above the IB low, and my target is back over here. That trade, I'll point that out all day long, right? So this is the part because we've gotten to the fine-tuning part of what your entry looks like, since you know exactly what your entry looks like. And now you can adjust trade size appropriately. Right now you can adjust trade size appropriately. You can either do one contract, pass, or do full size, but you know what the challenge is in front of you. So now this comes in, right? It keeps evolving, right? If you're still going to use this 5-minute, so remember, we have not broken this 5-day moving average, which means buyers and bigger picture are still in control. This has the potential for a tweezer's top, right here and here. Has not printed yet. And what we'd like to see the most off a tweezer's top is a star down followed by a dot down within this. And if we don't get either one, it's just a regular everyday vanilla tweezer's top. Now if you go, that tweezer's top is the high, what I suggest you do so you don't get run over, because it's not a bad read, right? Obviously, you cut your trade size in half of whatever it would normally be if it was premium, right? Meaning there's a star on it or there's a dot, whatever you're looking for at that point. You just go, okay, I'm going to cut it down. Now, if you have my challenge is because I know what the pattern looks like, dun, dun, in my mind I envision this, right? Dun, dun, bam. And I guess that this bar is going to close down with a star, and then not anymore, but in my head I go, oh, this is going to come this way, and I don't wait for the bar to form, right? So now what I have is I'm no longer have a tweezer's top. I can have a super trap back in, but I need a star or a dot on the right side to make this effective. If not, I've got to wait. So I have neither a star nor a dot, right? So now I just wait, right? So now I just wait for the rest of the trade to develop, okay? I just wait for the rest of the trade to develop, and I don't have to stress. Why? I have it written right on my desk. 4 days, $300 a day, right? 10 months out of the year, 20 Apex accounts, $1 million, right? If I'll only follow my process, right? And that will take away the days when I go, geez, I had everything else. That was the 50-60 retrace right on the 5-day moving average, and it super traps, but it doesn't give me the dot or the star. I can forgive that, right? I can forgive that because I'll get it enough of the time, and also it was 8:50 to 9 o'clock. I will have my days when I hit them over and over, and it may be today, right? We're just at 9:12 in the morning. We don't know, right? But if you let your brain get so wound up like that spring and turn that down and crank that down and crank that down. You go, I'm not going to get my setup today. Go back to, I don't need it today, right? That it's all right. They cannot take the money away from me, okay? They cannot take the money away from me. The other thing I'm hearing while I'm talking is that I've heard from several people, well, yeah, but I get to like $600, but I know I'm capable of more than that. Everyone in this room is capable of putting up $1,000, $2,000 days. What hasn't happened across the board in this room, right, is people putting up 300 to 600 day after day after day. Now, if that $1,000 to $2,000 day is so important, right, and we've all done it, right, yet no one's withdrawn, including me, $1 million from Apex. I'm trying, but I'm not there, right? Where's the priority need to be? Right? The priority needs to be in letting the trade set up, taking your high odds entries, right? And letting the market develop and letting the market do whatever it wants to do. And then if it happens to set up a star, or like for example, this closed down, this would be orange dot, white dot up with a close back in. That's a good entry, right? I'll take 3150 on that trade if it prints, right? So I'll come over here. So 3150, orange dot, white dot, 2 contracts, 31 quarter. There. I'm sitting at 3150. Doing a tick beyond where the range bar predictor tells me that bar will close, right? Where the footprint predictor tells me that will close, right? 3175. It's rough because that's a rip off of the Renko bar, and it's not a Renko bar. So it's the reason why it doesn't hit sometimes, Randy, is because it's calculating it a little bit different. So anyway, I'm sitting at 3150, right, with 2 contracts. And what's my goal? So from 3150, 2150, and then my natural target would be 1475. But I'm just going to go 10, 15, thank you very much, and move along, assuming I get it at all. And by the way, longs over shorts still. Longs over shorts still, strategy-wise. So see how I don't need to guess. I don't need to decide, oh, maybe it'll reject IB high or IB low. I just wait for the algo to kick in. Is this helping, guys, the way I'm describing it? Great job. Tasia, can I share that with the room? So Tasia just said, send me a message, plus 330 in each account. Was hoping for better on my first fund today, but didn't push the last dots up trade. Scalped it. 330. He keeps doing that every day. He's going to get to $1 million. You can't beat the math, right? I'm going to cancel that last trade because it can't trigger anymore. And I didn't guess, therefore I did not get stopped, right? It's all right. Sometimes it'll play into my hand, sometimes it won't. Sometimes it'll play into my hand, sometimes it won't. But I don't have to force my hand. Okay, guys? It's supposed to be a little boring. It's not about me calling every move or catching every trade. Nor is it for you. There comes the short squeeze. Now buyers have taken control. Why? We're above the IB. I would look for pushes back in now. For high odds trades, for a pushback to 16976 and then 17013 to 17018. Okay. Or from those levels, the 16973 and 1670131, right? 973 and then the 013, potential shorts for those who are aggressive on the short side. That doesn't fit my MO. No signal, no fighting it. And again, longs over shorts. So let's go back through this. If you traded long only, right? A grade, A plus, that's star and star. I'm going to count that a stop. It went up, but not enough for a scale. So green, red, A grade. It's all green. White will be green, okay? Super trap, into dot on the left, no dot there, so let's call it A minus, right? Stop, except it was a 8:50 to 9 o'clock. You had to be mega kamikaze to take that, right? This is after 9 o'clock, dots with the white dot up, close back into the wick, short, not at the fourth channel. This is at the fourth channel, trap back in. Shamefully, I did not take that. Good job, Tasia, taking that and push. That's how that works. So maybe a little rusty from the couple of days break, but okay, P&L wise. Okay. And most importantly, right? No one, and I mean no one, you didn't go, oh, it's going to test prior day's low. Stop. Oh, it's going to test IB low. Stop. Oh, it's going to test IB high. Stop. That's 1, 2, 3 stops. If you count those at 11 points apiece, $33,660 in stops minimum per contract, right? It's important that you get the trades in the right direction at the right time, right, and in the right way, so that you don't get run over, right? NQ's positive, by the way, not shocking, right? It'd have been nicer if the PA had been just a hair faster. And this is also in my weakest PA, right? Meaning it's just kind of a slow dump kind of day. Good job, Gregory. Thanks, Matt. So I don't have to anticipate where the market's going to go. It's not always going to lay into my plan, right? But if I follow it, I have very good odds of pulling money out of this market, and I have good odds of not giving it back, right? And I don't have to guess beforehand. And I was talking to Joshua earlier this morning, way early, and I was saying, this is my hardest thing right here when it starts ripping, because in my head, I go, this right here, I go, this is unfair to me, right? Because I didn't get the trade here, and I didn't have the vision to see that it could pop like this. Or I didn't have the vision from here to go, hey, this is 100 points, right? So 850 to 980, right? And so I'll feel a sense of injustice and get mad, right? Or it came off the 5-day moving average, and I'll have a sense of injustice and get mad, right? By the way, Matt, right here, high odds on the ODTEs, right? Just you should snap a picture of that for the roll up. That's picture perfect. Um, if the other side kicks in. Sorry, it's a private message, but I had to communicate that with Matt. So if you, so what I do is I get this sense of injustice, right? Kind of this I've been screwed kind of mentality, right? And I go, well, no, the market owes me here. And I'll go, well, I've got to short it. And then what I'll do is I'll want to go off process. Well, it'll fail off the low. That's a head and shoulders trap. It's going lower. Oh, it'll fail off IB high. Oh, it'll fail off this 16,976 because I thought it was resistance. Oh, it goes higher. And the more I get stopped, I don't anymore, but mentally, picture me trading poorly, right? The more of a rage I go into and the more on tilt trading I go. Like, how dare they lift it without, like, how dare they not give me a star here or a dot into dot? Like, WTF, right? And I get this rage about, and so I'm cool at first until it lifts all the way over here. And now I'm like, oh, there's no way they can take it all the way up here. Like, they wouldn't, like, who would dream of doing that to me? I'm just going to start shorting it, right? And I know it's happened to other people. Stop, 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 stop. So it's important when this happens that I go back to the facts, right? What's the facts? We're above the 5-day moving average. We've tested into the 50-60 from Thursday. It didn't give me the setup, right? And I don't have the star down, which is what I said was the primary algo I was looking for outside of the stars down in the 10-minute window. I don't have a star down or a tweezer's top or anything else that would tell me, go crazy on the short side of the trade, right? So now I have to separate my feeling. That really sucks. I really would have liked to have shown everyone how I could get a 100-point trade on this, right? Except, think about it. Have I been talking about 100-point trades in any of this? No, I would have gone 10, 15, and done, right? Haven't talked about a 100-point trade in any of this. Number two, what's the difference if I get the star here or I get the star up here, right? The facts say, wait for the algo, wait for the setup, take my 10, 15, and 20 or whatever balance you've come out with in your trading and move along. It does not say, right? It does not say, nor have I written, watch me capture every move and every swing in the market. There's star down, that's valid. So if you want to take that, right, you would take that. I'll take that right here. I took it at 94.25. I just sent it. So I'll put a 10-point stop on that, 04.25, right? And I did it with one contract. Why? Because we're just going up, and I don't like shorting just going up, right? So actually, it doesn't even have to be 04.25. Let me see. Oh yeah, 04.25 is fine. Okay. It doesn't have to be a monster trade, nor do I have to be afraid of the trade. I said I was looking for the star down. As it was coming up, if the star gets stopped and it traps back in, I'll take the next trade in. Because I don't want to short a straight up market, I've cut my trade size in half, and I'm simply targeting a move back to 84.25 for my scale. That's it. And if it stops, I can live with that, right? Not the worst thing in the world, and I do it calmly. Okay? So that is how I'm running the thing. And if it stops me, I know that stops are certainly plausible in this market, right? It's going straight up, right? It's not shocking. And if you don't short, you're just waiting for a pullback into that 5-minute zone, right? This is how you adjust your risk basis so that if you get it wrong or you get on a bad rip, especially to the short side, right, and it doesn't give you what you're looking for, you're not mentally, emotionally, or psychologically damaged by the move. And if you don't like this trade, just cover it, right, and wait for the pullback. It's all right, right? Yep. I agree. I just cut my size on it, Randy. I'm going to try to get, I'm at 94 and I'm targeting 84 for the scale. In fact, I'm already sitting there. I'm limit 84. I'm not trying to knock it out of the park. I'm not bearish. I don't even know if it'll get to my target, right? And then Randy, write down. So remember, I already have my plan, right? If this stops and traps back in, I'll just flip back around on it and take it again, star into star. Now that is high odds. If that super traps back in, I'll go from one contract to two contracts, right? And you should be able to sit in that patiently. And if you're too nervous on one contract, just don't take the trade, right? So 04 will tag that out. I'm not adding to it. I'm not worried about it. And then I'm looking for the trap back in. And it's going to form a tweezer's top there. Looks like they'll almost certainly take the 04, but they haven't yet. Star down, double star down. If they trap on that, if this still stops, I'll be taking two contracts on the trap back in. Which would now be perfect if you think about it logistically, right? Tags that 13 to 18, then bar down and closes back into the star, and then come back to test the 16,940. That would be the structure of the trade. Oh, and by the way, today, guys, so YouTube guys, I'll be cutting the trade off now, cutting the broadcast off now. If you'd hit the like button, if you liked it, it really helps out, guys, by the way. Really would appreciate it. And if you'd like to join the room, just email me at TRADEnPERFORM. It's instead of and, it's the letter N. TRADEnPERFORM. It's about to stop. Stopped. TRADEnPERFORM at limit 9175 on that, 9150. TRADEnPERFORM at gmail.com. And I appreciate y'all joining. Again, we're looking for the trap back in now. The best would be if it tagged here and trapped back in, but it is what it is. Short's harder than longs. And we'll go from there. Thank y'all for joining, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.